You are live.
This is
Blondie one
not Memorex.
is already waiting for us. Did we ever figure out what Blondie one means?
It's like Obi-Wan. He's a big Star Wars fan.
And Blondie?
He is very blonde.
Oh.
It writes itself.
Blondie one.
Blondie one. Yeah.
Are they still doing that series with
Which one?
Well, there's going to be an Obi-Wan.
As far as I know, it's still going to happen, yeah.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes to go.
All right.
Making final preparations.
Oh, Sal's in the chat room as well as Joe.
All right. We're going to start at the top of the hour.
Top of the hour to you.
I'll just get all my links on my pages together. Get everything arranged. You have to get your fill of the show this week because we're going to be gone for a couple weeks as I do the move of the...
Well, you know, it's going to be very exciting when we come back, though, and we get to see your real background.
Yes, possibly, hopefully.
Background, yeah.
I don't have furniture in hand, although they say it's on the way.
And fortunately, there's no hurricanes, so that shouldn't delay any shipping.
Well, there are other things out there that delay shipping.
Well, that is true. Yeah, we were talking offline. James and I have both been waiting for something called in the experimental pie case that was supposed to ship in end of September, sometime in October, I believe, was the original, and so far has not shipped. It and we assume it's a delay of getting stuff from overseas. So let's hope that's it.
And not a scam.
And not a scam, yeah.
Vaporware.
Right.
All right, ready to go? Oh,
yeah.
I'd be ready to go too if I actually had all the recording software loaded. Messing around. I'll tell you what annoys me. You know, as much as I like Spotlight, I use Spotlight as just an app launcher.
Uh-huh.
But I've got a couple external hard drives mounted.
Right.
And until they spin up, Spotlight won't give you results.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just sits there, just looks at it. Okay. Now we can start.
All right.
The new version is ready to install. No, let's not do that right now.
Not right now.
Well, let me do one more thing. One more thing.
While you do that, let me mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Derek is in the house. Klaus, Jeremy from London. Good morning, everyone. And Andy. Hello, Andy.
Okay. Name the files the right thing. I think we're ready to go. Okay. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 551 for November 15th, 2020. Good morning, John.
Good morning, James.
This episode will be the end of our record-breaking streak.
That's right. But for a very important reason.
Yes, I am moving. And with me moving is the moving of Maca.
Hundreds upon hundreds of computers, yes.
And all the peripherals. And,
so here's the question: is do you have a plan of attack? I assume you're going to move the big chunky systems first and then get all the peripherals in place for them, or
doesn't really matter. I mean, it's all. I just got to move it all, get it all over there, and then sort it out later.
Got it.
I have way more stuff than I have space to display or properly organize everything. So I just got to get over there, cram it all together, and then sit down on the floor and look at it.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And something will come to me in terms of organization.
Oh, yeah. Klaus points out you're going to need a new sign for the outside, Maca 2.0.
Well, the old sign doesn't say if anybody's seen the sign. There is a sign that hangs outside. It's a glass, which reminds me I got to remove that, figure out how it was installed. But it's a glass sign. Now, it's got like an acetate inside, so anyway, it doesn't say 1.0,
so you're still good.
I'm still
good. But most 1.0 things don't say 1.0 necessarily, do they?
Oh, you know, I could reprint it. The sign is just, it's monochromatic. It's just black on transparent acetate.
Right.
I should actually have a 6-color Apple logo on that.
You are
bad
right.
Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the time when I did that, now this is going back, you know, when I made that sign was in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't think I had a good enough printer to really print that properly. I might have to get with you. Maybe you can get something printed that would work.
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Let's see. What are we talking about this week? The One More Thing, right?
The One More Thing.
The One More Thing.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the history of One More Things and reveal our top lists of those and our bottom lists of all those announcements. But we need to talk about new members too. And so over on Facebook, we welcome Leo Titus LeBron the Fifth. I remember that name. That name goes way back. That's a long-time listener from what I remember.
Oh, nice.
And Jim LaFaro also joined us. So welcome. And we've got a lot of people in the chat room.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
The usual
Scarlet Swordfish.
suspects.
Great name.
All right, let's see. Yeah, thanks. Mac84 is wishing those plastic machines a safe journey. That's a good question. You wonder if I'm going to put any hands through plastic as I pick any of these things up.
I don't even want to think about that.
That's why I am personally doing it all myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have friends that have volunteered to help move stuff. I know you, John, would be very careful with everything.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. If you need help, let me know.
It would be fun, I think, because I think you would enjoy helping move this stuff.
Yeah,
because you would get to see everything. So yeah, we can talk about it. We'll see what your availability is.
All right.
Next week. All right. Well, I think that's it for the intro. I think we need to get into eBay finds. So we'll
move on to the eBay
in a few moments. Okay. Let's
Andy
see.
Collins is in.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for waking up, Scarlett. You catch us. We're mostly live. It is early here too.
We've got
take a shot of this.
John from Austin.
Let's see here. Okay.
And of course, yes, Derek has ordered an ARM Mac.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't believe what? Early adopter? That's not that's not Derek's style, is it? I don't think so.
His current MacBook Pro is dying. So he had to.
Well, did you hear about that? There was some issue with like the registration of apps through the App Store and whether you could run them or not, and if apps needed to go check on a centralized server whether or not you own them, they wouldn't launch.
Really?
And it shut down the use of apps all over the place. It's a huge. I didn't see that in the news. So my friend Rob Griffiths was telling me about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I thought, well, isn't that Isn't that funny how that coincides with a new Mac release? Just people are like, oh, I got to upgrade. Okay, let's see.
All
You
right,
ready?
eBay. Yeah.
All right, let me, I need to throw those up on the screen so people see what we're talking about here. All right, let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're into the eBay auctions, and we want to talk about what happened to the ones from last week. The poster of the GM solar car featuring an Apple Macintosh monitor and some unnamed CAD software on there. That one is still available for actually the auction ended and it got relisted.
Oh.
Got no bids at the $50 starting bid, and then it was ended because the item is no longer available. Mystery. Okay, and the other item we had was that driveway lot of, I guess, what was an upgraded Mac?
Right, with an unusual
Plus,
keyboard.
possibly. Unusual keyboard. Lots of interesting things in that one. That one ended after 17 bids for $152.50. Solid buy.
Yeah.
For all that. Even if that Mac doesn't work, I mean, maybe you can get that working. And we had the SE30. That one was recapped, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No keyboard, working well. After 34 bids, $269. Again, a solid deal on SE30. In great shape. Okay, we will begin with this little guy. You recognize that lady?
Would be from the, I would assume from the 1984 commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the top left.
The title is Macintosh Introduction 1984 Pinback Commercial Apple Computer Rare. Description says, this is the pinback that accompanied the famous 1984 commercial that introduced the Apple Macintosh computer. The ad echoed George Orwell's book, 1984. I obtained the pinback in the 1980s and it is guaranteed to be original and not a modern reproduction. It is excellent condition, a rarity.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that they had done any sort of things to go with the commercial. Were there
Is
other
that really,
items, or
yeah, I don't know.
Because it seems weird. I mean, there's not an Apple logo or anything on here. No, there's no even like trademark thing or anything, is there?
No. And it's so maybe somebody in the chat can help me. They say it echoes the George Orwell, but I mean, isn't that Andy Warhol? I mean,
well, yeah, but the George Orwell book, right? But yeah, this is
for
definitely
1984.
Like an Andy Warhol-esque, with the colors and everything.
I see what
Right.
you're saying. Yes, yes, it did. 1984 from the book.
Right.
The pin itself,
yes,
is like Andy Warhol.
Yes.
Yeah, except it would have been all the same image probably. This one has one image of the woman from a distance holding the hammer, and then 3 close-ups in different hues. Reasonable starting bid on this thing at $12. Buy it now, $30. I can imagine that when they put this commercial together and had the big rollout, and that they produced some keepsakes, some promotional materials with it. Quite possible. Even though we've never seen this pin before, we've also never seen like those photos of the woman, and from that angle, I had to go back and see even if it was the same woman, because it didn't strike me, because we're just not used to seeing her from that angle, that close up.
And that close up, sure.
So I did some side by sides from the original, and I think it is, but still, I mean, again, it just with that expression and from that angle, because it looks like it's not a screen grab either. It's like a posed.
Yeah. Like they took publicity, exactly that, right?
Yeah. So anyway, if you're into collecting stuff surrounding that very famous ad, there you go. $30, buy it now. Place your bid. This one ends later today. Okay. What do you got?
Or what I have next is an Apple Watch. Not an Apple Watch, but an Apple Watch. This is a Think Different timepiece. Not smart. Just normal. Plastic face is intact, structurally in good condition, which is something I normally don't hear when describing a watch. 2 creases on the cardboard face from plastic display window to upper and lower left corners. But other than that, it is in new condition with factory clear plastic film on watch back and clean glass face free of scratches. So this is, I like the box.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that's my favorite part about this thing. Of course, it's got the nice iconic, watch face icon in the back. So this has a starting bid. Right now, this is zero bid. Starting bid of $200, free shipping out of Portland, Oregon. This has got 4 days to go, ending this coming Thursday.
Of course, the great thing about these,
pricey, doesn't it, for this particular watch?
No.
Okay.
There's one out there that doesn't have the box and it's going for way more. Of course, these watches also run backwards.
Right. Yes. You're right. Yes, I had forgotten about that aspect. Yes. Okay.
Which I don't want to give anything away, but you and I were talking about something earlier. Future project. Here's a future project right here.
Yes. Right.
How about this for a future project? Making one of these. These are interesting. I don't believe. I do, not in the box like this, and I'd have to show it. I don't know if there were several versions of this. If this one is maybe one that came later, that's more inexpensive. It looks slightly different than what I have. And I don't know if these originally came from Japan. These kind of promotional items that were made like this. I'm not really curious on history. I have to maybe do some digging on this one. But in the box, brand new condition. I don't know. I assume it's working. Did it say? Probably just needs a new battery. I think this is a heck of a deal here for a very unique watch. Okay, let's move on to something very, very cool. We've talked about these before. These are, well, the title says Vintage Rare Apple Mac Macintosh Glasses, Sunglasses, Collectibles, one of a kind.
Which we, of course, immediately knew to not be true.
They aren't one of a kind. There were, reports say, 30 pairs commissioned by Steve Wozniak, and he is wearing them on the cover. Do you have that book?
I do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There we are.
Woz.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, wearing them on the cover of that book. And so we've seen these float around before, but again, there's only 30, and Wozniak got with somebody that could make the plastic lenses and do the 6 colors on them, and then the shape of the Apple logo. The description on this one says, never seen before. Well, a quick Google search and you can see a lot of them. It says there's a small chip on the stem on one side of the lens. Overall, very clean, beautiful. Probably only a few exist. $10 shipped. Buy it now. $899 or make an offer.
Yeah, which, I mean, these are going to go, period. I am so actually tempted by these. Yeah. I normally don't put that much money down on collectibles, but darn it, look at them. Just look at them.
Buy it right now before you can do it. You can make an offer too. But those are pretty. I'm not sure they would fit on your face, John.
Well, not only that, but they certainly aren't going to be a prescription, and I am very, very, very blind without. But I would look so cool. You know, it's better to look good than to be able to actually see. So, yeah.
Better to look good than to feel good.
You look marvelous.
There we go. That's a deep pull.
That's right.
From
Saturday Night Live. Billy Crystal.
What was the character? Fernando.
Fernando? I could not remember.
I think so.
And we digress.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't see these every day.
Auction too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice sharp. They look beautiful. No scratches on those lenses. They are sharp. Mac 84 says, "Do it, John. Who needs savings anyway?" That's right. You can't be buried with your funds that exist electronically, but you can be buried
with these glasses. Yes.
Because the future's so bright. Oops, I bounced around there. You have to have 6 color Apple shades. All right. I think that's it. Was that 3 items?
That was 3 items.
Seems like we did. Okay. Well, we'll see if somebody takes the plunge on these, and maybe next time we record, John will do it wearing these glasses. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Let's roll right into the next item.
All right.
The next section. You ready?
Yeah, I'm all set.
All right. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, Apple last week had a one more thing, not just as an add-on to another announcement, but as a standalone event. So that was
one more thing for the year. Yeah, because they I did actually watch the whole thing. And they start with talking about how many events that they've already had this year. Now they had one more event, one more thing.
Right. And I whenever they do that, and they didn't mention the significance of the one more thing or mention Steve Jobs. I guess it's all implied now. But I bet there's so many people watching now that don't even know the history of one more thing.
Well, I did notice in one of the previous Steve Cook, one more things. Yeah, I can't think of his first name.
Tim Cook.
Thank you, Tim Cook. One of the previous ones where he did a one more thing. He mentioned that they don't use the one more thing lightly, and that it was definitely Steve's thing. So they have mentioned the significance of that in a previous.
They didn't mention Steve Jobs' name though either. They just said that they don't take it lightly. Yeah. Again, it was all implied, but you always wish there was a nod to Steve Jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. I mean, he's in the Steve Jobs theater. I guess I think everything is a nod to Steve at this point. Well, anyway, they announced what we kind of all figured was coming out, right? Which was the Apple Silicon-based Macs. We're hoping for just one. We got 3. We got a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro 13-inch, and the Mini. And quite impressive numbers they're touting right from the beginning, right?
Sure.
In terms of speed from that M1 chip, they're calling it. So they have a special purpose-built chip for the Macs, the M1, and not just the performance boost, but battery savings. We get everything.
Crazy battery savings.
And good pricing too, right?
Yeah.
So usually you can have one of the 3, right? You can have performance, you can have battery.
You can get it fast, you can get it cheap.
Or you can have price. Yeah. And they gave us all 3 for the most part. And I mean, people will get these in their hands and they'll prove it all out and see whether or not the performance, the battery life. But I mean, when you're saying 20 hours of video playback on a Mac, that's insane.
Right? Holy cow.
Video's not a very efficient thing to do. So if you're talking normal use on a MacBook Pro, I wouldn't be surprised if you stretch that thing out to a week. Right. So yeah, everything looks very good. The Mini is, the Mini is a little bit of a disappointment because of the stripping of a lot of the ports. The interface, it doesn't really stack up to the older Mini. But the laptops look great. Pricing looks great. Very exciting. I did not order one yet. I'm not currently in need, so I'll hold off and see how this goes. Of
course, the other big thing is being able to run iOS apps.
Oh, yeah.
But there was no mention of any. So, and of course, Rosetta 2, for backwards compatibility, right?
That was something that they slipped in there, that they said some apps will actually run faster under Rosetta 2 than they will natively on an Intel Mac.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Well, let's see. The history of One More Things. They date back to 1999. The very first one was the Apple Cinema Display. A beautiful, beautiful monitor. You've got one there on your desk,
I do.
think, to your left.
I've got one
There,
over
to your
that way.
right.
Yeah.
My left. Stage left. And then pretty much every year, and sometimes twice, there it is, twice a year, Steve Jobs would do a One More Thing. It kind of became his signature thing. Everybody was expecting it. If you didn't, you were disappointed. And then Tim Cook picked it up starting in 2014 and continued it to this day. So we thought we would review our favorites and our least favorites and go down those lists. So why don't we start with we'll go in order from the least of your most favorites
to
your most of your most favorites.
All right.
Right. So
All
the
right.
bottom of your 5.
So the
we'll
bottom.
see how our lines.
Okay. All right. Wait. So
this
I
is
thought
your
we were
least
doing
of your
5,
most.
Least of my most. Okay. That's not confusing at all. All right. Okay. If we're going to do the least of my most, I'm going to start. But again, so these are 5 of the things that I really liked. But the least of those would be
let me say there were about 20. I don't know, 25
things to
or
choose
so.
from. Right. Sometimes multiple in the same year. But I'm going to go with MacBook Pro Intel processor. As the least of my favorite of my favorite things, right?
Because this is in the top 5.
It's in my top 5. But
that was
if I'm going to rank those least to most favorite,
2008.
I mean, it was certainly a significant thing, and it's something that I certainly took advantage of, being able to run Windows stuff, because I hadn't really done anything with Windows before then. But if you're going to do some good gaming, you got to do Windows. So that would be the lowest of my top 5. Do you want me to keep going, or will you alternate?
No, I'll go. Then I'll go next.
All right.
I want to say, that makes sense for you personally, because you do a lot of work in the Wintel world, not just with gaming, but professionally as well.
At work.
So that was big for you. For me, that event, that was big. I mean, so that event is kind of like what we just are doing right now, right? It's a
transition.
A transition. For me, it was a little more kind of scary. You could see the hope there. You just wondered about how that was going to get pulled off, and as it turned out, it went really well. Let's see, it's funny because I got a peek at your list, and one of mine in my top list is actually in your bottom list. We're going to have to explain the way that. I don't know. We might have to just disband this podcast. We're so much in disagreement. But so let me give you a little philosophy. I looked at your list, and I could see what your philosophy was. Let me see if I can state let me state my philosophy of how I went about my selection.
Okay, sure.
But mine was, I looked at them in historical significance.
Okay.
Like, the announcement at the time may not have been that amazing, but historically has proven to be quite something. Like, it was the beginning of a huge shift in what's being done. So with that in mind, the least, or my number 5, at the time, Apple announced it as a hobby, and it seemed like a weird thing. I think they called it even the iPod for your TV or something weird like that. And it was the first product out the door was kind of crappy. As it turned out, it became quite an important product in their lineup, and continues to this day. And I think we're probably expecting another generation to be released any moment, but it was their foothold in TV, and that originally was iTV, which became Apple TV.
Apple TV, sure. Yeah. Now I think it had to change was because there was something out there already called iTV, correct?
Yeah. And now you had that. We'll jump the gun. That was in your worst list.
Well, just because I had an Apple TV that I think I got used It's an Apple TV. It was the 2, so it was the smaller one
Uh-huh.
that I used for about a week. And I
Oh.
said, nah, I'm just going to hook a computer back up to my TV. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Yeah. So that is why it is low on my list.
Yeah, I had the very first generation one.
You know, that
Got
one,
into using
that's the
that.
one that you could actually hack and put OS 10 on, wasn't it?
You could. Well, it was yeah. And it has a lot of limitations. It's still an interesting case design for a future project.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have Apple TVs on all my TVs, and it's just such a convenient thing. But yeah, if you want to go the route and have a full computer there and deal with that, then certainly that's an option. But if you've got lots of TVs, you just want to turn on any TV and have all the apps in sync and run it, everything where you left off. It's very convenient. All right, what's your number 4?
Oh, okay. This is going to be tough. I will say my next one, simply because I didn't have it at the time and I didn't get to truly appreciate it until really just a few years ago, would be the Tybook, the PowerBook G4. Before I finally got one of those, again, just a few years ago, my favorite old school laptop was the Pismo. But I have to say that I love playing with the titanium. Should I show what's behind me right now?
Well, you've got one there. I see it picking out over your shoulder.
Well,
there it is.
So here's my top 5 right here. This is it.
Oh, all right.
That's all of it. All right, bye. Oh,
that was number 4. It was number 2 for me.
Okay.
Again, looking at it historically, the PowerBook G4 Titanium was again, new case design, introducing a new processor. Well, not a new processor, but new for the portables, and pretty much set the standard for notebook design that we still follow today. Going to these, metal laptops, the clean lines. It was a breakaway from the curved plastics or the possible translucence and all that. So yeah, it was a huge landmark announcement. Okay, so my 4, 2010, introduced a technology that little kids, maybe adults too, used to dream about ever since years. In science fiction, you would see this thing, and now in the pandemic has proven to be even more important. And is it almost a verb?
Yeah,
when you
right.
want a telecon.
Yep.
I think Zoom has Zoom is more of that's more of a video conferencing meeting sort of thing. But if you want to do a video chat with somebody, people often will
do you want
say,
to FaceTime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the demo was incredible.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
If you go back and watch the demo where Steve Jobs calls Johnny Ive via FaceTime. Now, the one thing that's Steve Jobs is absolutely irate because for some reason they don't have a dedicated Wi-Fi for that connection. And it only worked over Wi-Fi, right? Originally.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's yelling at everybody in the audience to shut their Wi-Fi off because they're taking bandwidth hits on the call of Johnny Ive. Fortunately, it works pretty well, but you can see Jobs is nervous. It's a little cringeworthy in that regard. But regardless, if you remember sitting there and seeing them video chat over their phones on Wi-Fi, albeit, I thought that was a huge moment. Of course, FaceTime has become ubiquitous and use it all the time. And of course, now with the cell phone networks fast enough to handle it and get nice high quality video anywhere you go. So that was my number 4.
I will say that was actually when I was originally doing like a top 10 list, that was certainly on my list as well. Because it's something that was awesome and amazing before and just became really, really more important as time went by. All right, so next on my list is going to be the G4 Cube.
Oh,
bam!
That was on my list for a little while.
Okay, Did it get edged
And
out by?
it got because when I started looking at it from a historical context and realized that the G4 Cube was sort of a flash in the pan and while gorgeous
So
and everything, didn't really have any staying power.
well, all right. So yeah, you were talking about your kind of what you
Yeah,
decided to do. Your mine is basically
in the
stuff that
moment.
I drew. Well, no, stuff that I drooled over
Right at that
when it came
time.
out. Yeah, at the
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
and
That's a
yeah,
good thought. Yeah. And you've got one there over your
yes, I
left
do.
shoulder. Great. Let's see. My next one was the first one that Tim Cook announced, and this was another one where they had a preliminary name that kind of like ITV, and then they changed the name later, so we got a really good advance. I mean, before they even had final naming, we got to see what this thing was going to be about. And you know what? I'm not even wearing mine right now. It's still on my bedside table. But this one was kind of a reinvention of the smartwatch, and now Apple is the best selling, or they're the biggest watch selling company in the world.
Wow.
With Apple Watch, which was originally sort of called iWatch, and even to this day, people will still call it iWatch, forgetting that it's actually Apple Watch. So that was a huge announcement. Anyway, okay. So what was your next one?
All right. So my next one.
This is number 2 for you. I think
this is going to be the number 2. The G4 iMac. Still, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best computer designs that they did. Period.
Now was that wasn't the One More Thing? Was that a true One More Thing? I know they did a 17-inch G4 iMac as a One More Thing.
Yes, yeah, I think you were right on that. That was the One More Thing, was because this would have been in. Well, no, this is at least the list I was looking at show that the 2002 was the G4 iMac One More Thing.
Yeah, I think that's the 17-inch one.
17-inch, okay.
All right,
which is what I've got right back here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Nice. And my next one was your. I don't remember which number it was for you, but that was my titanium PowerBook. So we already covered that one. Okay. And then
now, is there any particular reason for that one? Just because it was
all the reasons I said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Set the standard for laptop design.
All right. Okay. So my number 1 is the Powermac G5, which is right there. Now, let me tell you, I upgraded from the computer that I had before the G5. There was my blue and white G3. Yeah. So it was, a significant jump in power, and so that G5 is of all the things on my list, the only 2 things that I ever owned new would be the Powermac G5, and I had one of the early MacBook Pro Intel processor Macs. Everything else is stuff I had to, get after the fact, sort of thing. So so that the aluminum beastie behind me has definitely got a special place in my heart.
And that was certainly in my top 10 as well, because I got one around the same time you got yours. And you're talking about introducing the G5, the last of the G processors we would get in Macs, plus the case. My God, all that aluminum and the craftsmanship behind that. Yeah. And my number 1 was the unveiling. Again, this is more of a preview too, right? Of the lickable Aqua interface that would become Mac OS 10.
That was on my extended list also.
Yeah, I think we weren't even anticipating. I think the best One More Things are the ones that we didn't even know were coming, right? And that came out. I was like, my gosh. I mean, we knew that they'd been working on stuff, but there was no real indication that it was due for any kind of announcement. To get that kind of preview, to see the future of the Mac OS and get excited about it so much that we ordered the discs and played with it and its limited functionality. Of course, we're still using Mac OS 10 today, very similar to that original one back in 2000. Okay, our worst lists. We're dragging this out very long.
Just
it's a lot of fun to talk about. I'll go first.
Just you do all three. You're all three.
All three. Okay, my worst ones. Number 3, iTunes Match. I mean, these little add-on things. iTunes Match just reminds me of how screwed up everything is with music and my libraries and what I own, what I don't, what I can stream, what's matched by Apple, where it is, what I can play. I mean, it's so confusing that I've pretty much thrown in the towel and I just stream everything at this point because I don't know if I'm coming here, if I'm coming or going in terms of where my music is and who owns it. Okay, so that's what Match reminded me of. All right, and then after that, 2007, my number 2 would be Safari on Windows. I don't know. I mean, I guess if I were a Windows user, I'd be happy about that, maybe, but I certainly would be watching any kind of keynote. So that was like a nothing for me, Safari on Windows. Do they still have Safari on Windows? I don't even know.
I doubt
Does anybody care about that?
Right.
And the worst was this is the jump the shark moment of any Apple product, right? When they run out of ideas, they still have one idea left, and that's different colors. And so the iPod Mini in colors, that's not that bad, but I mean, again, it's just like, really, right. It's not a bad idea. Yeah. It is bad to make it a one more thing.
A one more thing, exactly. Yeah, no, that was one thing when I was watching all these. Is like some of the one more things were just mind blowing, right. And there are some were one more thing. I think I left the oven on. They're just like it's like, all right, if you're gonna do the one more thing, pick your lane for that. Would you?
Yeah, you said it earlier. I think I don't know if we were recording at the time about how Tim Cook, when he was getting ready to announce, I think Apple Music, he said he said we don't take this lightly when we do a one more thing.
But sometimes he did, really.
Well, sometimes Steve Jobs did.
All right, so on my least favorite, hey, look, iPod Mini colors, and for me well, you were talking to just the same thing with the TV shows. It's something I never really did. And same thing with Apple TV, which we already talked about, is just something that it never right. You. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that was my lowest 3 are things that just never really, I knew they were out there, but never really affected me. So,
honorable mention from Derek is iPod socks. I don't think technically iPod socks was a one more thing, but in terms of product announcements, it's right down there. If we had that list. Yeah. And I still have my iPod socks too. So does Mac 84. I like them. So, okay. We dragged down on that. Okay. Let's get to the next couple of things. Let's see. We're going to go to the news. Yeah. News. All right. Whenever you're ready.
I am ready.
Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, I mean, obviously the news was dominated by the one more thing announcement of the new Macs last week, but there were a couple other things that were going on. A couple of auctions, to be specific, over at Bonham's auction house. There's one that's active right now and one that actually finished. Let's start with the one that's active so people can get a jump start on submitting their bids. Let's see. It is this guy. Look at that. It's a signed Apple II Plus case lid by both Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. What would you pay for that? There's a story behind this. I read the story. I think it's in the description down here, talking about how this gentleman who passed away recently, I guess Thomas Earl Neudecker II of the University of Pittsburgh, attended the Macintosh release event, and on January 24th, 1984, and he took along with him in his briefcase the lid, and he got it signed by both of
That's
them.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see the pictures here. You got a little Steve Jobs in the upper left-hand corner, just as he has signed since.
Forever.
Has he always signed that since he was a teen? I don't know, but it's funny that even back as early as 84, he was just signing it was. Clean. There's a picture of the gentleman using. There's also included in this as an Apple Macintosh banner with the bicycles for the mind, the Picasso artwork. What else can we say about this? And there's a big description there. They estimate that this is going to go between $20,000 and $30,000. I think it's going to maybe even go for more than that.
I think so too. Yeah.
There have been Steve Jobs alone items that have been sold that have gone for more than that. I think there was that floppy disk that he signed that went, I don't know if it was $80,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
This one having the pair of them. There's a little, it's an Apple II Plus lid, which is kind of random.
Sure, right. As opposed to if it had been like an Apple II lid, the first commercial or something like that, maybe, but still pretty neat.
Or a Mac case, for that event or whatever. But still cool nonetheless. It's great that he held on to it for all those years, and then his estate is essentially, deciding to finally sell it. The other one also offered up at Bonhams. Now, this one did already sell. People can take guesses on what this went for, but this is the circuit board for a blue box. Okay,
that's
remember
cool.
Woz and Jobs, they used to get together and make these things and sell them so that people could make free long distance calls, right? They figured out
the tones that were.
Yeah, I guess it was what Captain
Crunch.
Captain Crunch had figured out the tones, and they were devised a way to build up these little circuits, could hold it up to the receiver, and then just call wherever. And they made some prank calls, and they pranked the Vatican.
The Pope, yeah, right.
These are cool. I have one of the Captain Crunch whistles, right?
That's really?
It's called Captain Crunch, is because the whistle that came in the cereal produced the same tone, or at least one of the tones necessary to do the trick. I wonder what that would sell for. I wonder how. I remember getting that years ago. I wonder how easy those are to come by. Anyway, back to this, the circuit board. So there have been actually the full boxes sold.
Yes.
In the past that have sold, and it actually came in a blue box, right, with a little speaker on it. This one doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just the circuit board, fully populated. You'd have to hook it up to a 9-volt battery. I don't know if it still works. I don't know if you got to recap that thing. Who knows? I mean, I think you'd want to make a reproduction blue box enclosure for this.
Oh, this one sold. Seeing, It's cool being able to see the
right. Oh yeah, I think if you made one, you'd want to do a clear case with like a blue hue or something, or a blue LED or something inside. $31,000. This one sold for $31,325 to be specific. So yeah, if you're
just to let you know, I was looking up Captain Crunch Bosun whistle prices. And it looks like I see some going for as low as 25 up to like around 100.
Oh, okay.
So not as bad as I thought they would be. So
all right, well, there you go. That's the news for the week. Okay, I guess we'll just do a little outro here.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
A day. Ready?
I am ready.
Oh. Okay. Let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're at the end of another episode of the RetroMacCast, ending our record-breaking streak of consecutive weeks. We will go on hiatus for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Next week, I will be in the midst of my move. The following week will be the Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
And we'll be back on December 6th.
December 6th. And with a little luck, what you see behind me that's virtual will be actual.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Although it won't have that exact Mac placement that you see there. I was just toying around with case sizes, what would fit in the shelves and that sort of thing. So that original Mac, that should be about right with the picture above. I think that will be there. And actually, it'll be closer than maybe I let on. Because the larger case sizes will have to go on the top shelf. So the TAM, the Bondi Blue iMac, those will probably be there too.
Okay.
We'll see how close it comes. Boy, is James Murdoch a friend of yours?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Is it an encouraging comment? I don't know if that's a compliment.
He is my friend all the way since high school.
Holy smoke.
Awesome to see you, James.
It's funny who pops in here on the live chat. Reminder, we are live. When we record, we'll stream it live so you can see the behind the scenes, and we wind up striking up chats. Sometimes we have surprise guests on the video stream. We've done that once or twice.
Yeah, Jim was also my best man at my wedding. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Awesome. So anyway, we'll be back in 1, 2, 3 weeks, and make sure you join us live too at 8 a.m. What'd you say? December what?
December. I have to look it up again. December 6th. Yes.
December 6th. Join us live at 8 a.m. Central on our YouTube channel. And until then, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
All right. Thanks. Good luck with the move. Thanks, Klaus. And thanks everybody for showing up again. We got, lots of. I'm sorry, we were cooking along. I didn't get a chance to read a lot of the chat. I'm scrolling through here and seeing what everybody was saying. Yeah, Anya Major was her name. Yeah, Andy Warwell. That's right. I'm just looking through here and see if any questions, anything we need to comment on.
A lot of comments about the iPod socks.
Yeah. Turn off your Wi-Fi hotspots.
Nice.
All right. Well, I guess we'll call that a wrap.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a few weeks. Stay safe out there. The numbers are spiking again.
Oh, boy.
Americans, we decided we needed to come out and live our lives too soon. Hopefully the vaccine is closer than we think.
Yeah, right.
And that'll
so
help.
We can get back to things normal. I want to do another LAN party, darn it.
Yeah, you don't want to do that remotely. There is this thing called the internet.
Yeah, that's
no could fun. Do that. No, it isn't. All right. We will sign off.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.